All right, Jake Paul, Tommy Fury coming tomorrow. This fight is a fight that I'm surprised this is going to happen. You know, the fight's been called off 2 times. This is a high stakes fight for both guys, and I'm surprised that these guys are willing to risk, because there is a huge risk for Jake and Tommy. More so Tommy, which I'm going to get into. But Jake Paul's always been wanting to prove I'm a real boxer. And this is his chance to, because yes, even though Tommy Fury isn't the most elite boxer, he is a good boxer. I know a lot of people make fun of him, and I know a lot of people say he fights cans, but the truth is he's been boxing since pretty much he was born. I mean, his brother's the heavyweight champion, and technically he is a way better boxer than Jake Paul in my opinion. Technique for technique, Tommy fights better backwards. He has better jab. I mean, you saw a video of him like testing out the power of his jab, and his jab is heavy, which I think is going to be something that is going to be a factor in this fight for Tommy. If this is just a straight up boxing match, I think Tommy has the advantage. Now we look at Jake Paul. Jake hasn't really fought any boxers. He tried to fight Asim Rahman Jr. That fight wound up falling through, pretty much destroying these MMA guys. I mean, I would say the most credible win is the Anderson Silva win, because Anderson Silva was a really good boxer. Despite his age, I still think that's a pretty credible win. And my question is, can Jake Paul prove himself with this win? I think whoever wins this fight gains a ton of credibility. I think Tommy Fury probably gains less credibility, just because if Jake loses, people are going to say, oh, you see, he was never a boxer. People were gassing him up. He isn't that good of a boxer, which might be true if he loses to Tommy. Like, he might never reach that level of becoming a pro boxer. I don't even necessarily mind. I think that Jake Paul gets wrapped up into this idea that he needs to be a pro boxer. He needs to fight these Canelo Alvarez's. I never want to see him fight these pro boxers. Yes, Tommy Fury was a fight that I've been wanting to see for a long time. Other than that, I really don't care. I really don't want him to go chase belts. I don't care about him fighting contenders. I really don't care. To be honest, I find the Mike Perry versus Jake Paul fight more interesting, especially if he loses to Tommy. I want to see Jake Paul fight these MMA guys, because that's what's interesting. Jake Paul isn't going to reach those levels. And at the end of the day, what makes an interesting fight is how competitive it is. And Jake against an MMA fighter is competitive. Jake can lose, so can obviously the MMA fighter. Of course, it really depends on who's the MMA fighter, but the unpredictability is what makes good fights. As long as it's a good matchup, that's what I'm supporting. But I'm going a little off topic. But like I said, honestly, my problem is that Jake calls himself a real boxer. You can't call yourself a real boxer while fighting MMA guys. I prefer him to fight MMA guys, yes, but then don't call yourself a pro boxer. You know what I'm trying to say? But this win will make him a pro boxer. This is a legit win, like I've said. Tommy Fury is a tough opponent for Jake. So as always, I'm going to run through how I think the person will win. Let's start with Tommy. How can Tommy win? I think Tommy fights better off the back foot than he does the front foot. He usually has really good counters, really good timing. That's because he's been boxing for years. He's used to this. He's sparred probably thousands and thousands of times. Guy is used to it. This is like his main language, boxing. Jake is a guy that's been practicing this for about 5 years, which is still a lot, don't get me wrong, but nothing like Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury has the innate ability just to box, and he's built like a boxer. He has really long arms. I think it's going to be the jab. Really put the jab in Jake's face, make sure he can't get on the inside, feint and confuse Jake. And I really think that this is Tommy's fight to lose. I think if Tommy cracks under the pressure, or cracks under the pressure of Jake Paul moving forward, I think he loses the fight. But luckily, Tommy is a guy that does fight well off the back foot, so I don't know if he'll be necessarily so pressured by Jake if he moves forward. I think Tommy is a guy that lands cleaner shots, and let's be real, I think Jake Paul has the better resume if you look at who they fought. Even though Tommy has fought boxers and Jake has fought MMA fighters, the boxers that Tommy has fought probably all lose to Jake's resume. Maybe besides Ben Askren, but like other than that. And for Jake, I think how he wins the fight is moving forward. I know I said Tommy Fury fights well off the back foot and counters well, and I think Jake's weapon is really going to be to knock out Tommy Fury. I'm not so sure if he'll win a decision, and I said this in the Anderson Silva fight. I was like, hey, I don't think Jake can win a decision, and I know I say this a lot that Jake can't win decisions, but he's been proven to win decisions. I just think if it goes to a decision, I think that's because Tommy Fury is making it go to a decision. I think then Tommy Fury will control the reign. As for Jake, it really is a tricky fight for Jake, because yes, we haven't seen a lot of Tommy Fury, and a lot of what I'm saying is assumption. I think that Jake has to implement a lot of feints, confuse Tommy, go for the body as he usually does, and then go up top. I think if I'm Jake training for this camp, I'm working on power, and I'm working on multiple setups to shots. Like, I'm working on like 10 to 20 different game plans and different setups to shots that I'm going to plant throughout the fight, hoping that one of them lands. Like, that's just my opinion. I don't think he can outbox Tommy. If he does, that's going to be hella impressive. And who knows, maybe he wins a close decision, but I don't think it's going to be one of those things where all 8 rounds, I think it's going, all go to Jake. No, I think it's going to be a close one. I think the fight will be close. And the other thing to consider is Tommy's never gone 8 rounds. We've seen Jake go 8 rounds. We've seen him go 8 rounds with Anderson and knock down Anderson in the last round. We've seen him go 8 rounds with Tyron Woodley. And yes, Tommy has usually gone to decisions. They usually have been 4 to 6 rounds. Now, to be honest, I don't think this will be a factor. Like I've said, Tommy has been boxing for years. Like, since basically out of the womb. So this is all going to be innate for him. I think if they're trading in the pocket, I think that Tommy might have the edge, and we haven't really seen them both box in the pocket before, so it's hard to tell. But just because I think Tommy's more used to it. I mean, trading in the pocket is so hard to do, especially with the head movement. It's something really hard that you really have to practice on, and I think it's easier for Tommy just because he's been doing it for so long. I will say, I think if Tommy's moving forward, I think Jake loses, but I don't think that'll be the case. How I see the fight going is I think Jake is going to move forward, and Tommy is going to go backwards using the jab. Maybe they go in the center. So when I started making this video, I was going to say Jake, but after breaking it down verbally and talking to you guys, I'm going Tommy Fury. I think both these guys are young. I don't think Jake is going to knock out Tommy. It's really hard to knock out a guy that's really young. Like, Tyron Woodley's had a lot of damage throughout his career. Obviously, he's fought so many times, fought for so many championships, has gone 5 rounds so many times, but it's hard to knock out a guy that hasn't taken so much damage. So I don't think the knockout shot's going to be there, especially since he couldn't even knock out Anderson. I'm going to go Tommy Fury. I think Tommy Fury can keep it at long range. I think in the pocket, Tommy will have the advantage. I think if it goes forward, Tommy has the advantage, and I think if it goes backwards, Tommy also has the advantage because Tommy is really good going backwards. I think the X factor is going to be, can Jake land the shot? That's just in my opinion. I think if he's going to land the shot, if he could land a good shot on Tommy, maybe he knocks him out. But I have faith that his chin will hold up, and I think Tommy will win by decision probably. Anyway, guys, that's just my breakdown. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I've been saying in my other videos, these are all pre-recorded, so I really hope that Mike Perry didn't step in or anything like that. But in the case that that does happen, I'm gonna go Jake Paul. I think Jake Paul will beat Mike Perry, but I really hope that this fight stays together because this video will be pointless. But it's happening tomorrow in the afternoon. Let you know my thoughts on Monday morning. We'll be back. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like if you did, and I'll see you guys in the next one.